Hey, I'm Al McGee with YETicket.com. I'm here with the director for the film Reboot Camp, and also one of the actors who's playing the character Herbert, Chazz Bono. How you two doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Doing great, and thanks. Happy to be with you.
Yes.
All right. Well, first, let me ask Ivo a question. Why did you direct this film? And what are you trying to say about humans?
Well, I directed this because that's what I do, and I love films, and I love making films in all forms, short music videos, feature films, all that. This particular topic, because it was very fascinating to me. I've always been very intrigued by this whole cults and these groups, and especially these leaders who manage to get people to follow and do strange things, and kind of abandon critical thinking and accept somebody else's claim to know it all. And I've just found it very fascinating. So I started researching this and found that there is a system on how this is done. And this system is basically some of it, not all of it, but the chapters in how this film is structured. It goes from this certain claim and this love bombing process, and then, selling a belief system, and then us against them, and don't believe that, listen to me. And it's a very, very fascinating web that is, woven over a relatively short period of time, and people get sucked in incredible ways. And I always thought it was fascinating. And, I thought it was a fun film to do as a comedy and satire, because there's a lot of really good, serious documentaries about that.
Yeah.
But I figured this is something that doesn't exist. And so that's why I did it.
Yeah. And Chazz, tell us about your character, Herbert. I mean,
Sure.
Why was he there? What did he need? And he was very needy. I will admit that.
Yeah, Herbert was very needy. I don't want to give away too much, but he finds his way to Reboot Camp after suffering a personal trauma. And so he's, in that space of real vulnerability, which is kind of the perfect prey for this. And comes in and jumps in with both feet and becomes really the ultimate reboot camper, the ultimate guy who drinks all of the Kool-Aid, and really gets sucked in all the way throughout this.
Oh yeah, and also when you finally saw this character in the script, and when you finally got chosen for it, did you have to audition for this film?
No, I didn't audition for this. This was something that got brought to me, and I read the script and I really liked it, and I met with Ivo and David Lipper, who's the star and one of the producers, and just we talked about what they were going to do, what the plan was, and I liked it, and I got involved, and really glad I did. It was a fun film to make, and it turned out really great. So
yeah, you look like you were having fun, and Ivo, you were working with some very good actors and characters in this film. For example, like Ed Begley Jr. and Ja Rule. Tell us a little bit about working with these actors in this film.
It was a treat. It was an amazing group of people who are total professionals who came to the table. I think everybody, after reading the script, was like, yeah, I can see this. This is a fun project, and came on board to support it. And then, people like Ja Rule we had for one day, So we were like, okay, well, what can we do? Well, what we can do is do some therapy with you, you know. And we put him together with David Koechner, who's another person who came in fairly late. We were already in production, and then we're like, let's put them together. You know, so we had them share a room, and then in the room we started seeing this incredible chemistry between the two of them, just as, you know, people who just met, chatting, talking, and they were like, oh, let's do like a bromance kind of session between the two of, you know, with the two of them.
Right.
And they both just were fantastic. And so even though everything is scripted, for characters like these that were not written into the script, that just kind of happened, like, okay, we can have Jarul and David Koechner for one day. What can we do? I was like, it's perfect. It's a camp. It's a self-help, fake but self-help program. Let's have them go through the program. They're part of it. And so we just came up with a variety of different exercises, you know, the night before, because we just found out we had them. And it was like, okay, let's do some angry yoga, you know, and things like that. And then these two guys were so into it and gave 100%. And so that's the result, you know. Jarul started singing Louis Armstrong songs, and it was just amazing. It was funny.
Oh, yeah, it was. Now, Chazz, you were also there on set with Eric Roberts, one of my favorite actors. And again, some of the other actors too, I just mentioned earlier. How did you all finally get along as far as following the script and acting your parts? Did you all talk amongst each other, Chazz? Or you just did your thing and went on about your business? Tell me, what did you do?
Oh, no, it was you know, it was really different than, you know, a typical set of, you know, film set or TV show set, because you know, we were filming in this house, this amazing house that had belonged to, it was Frank Sinatra's house in Woodland Hills. And so we were, you know, filming there, and we were, you know, using it as our dressing rooms. So with it, you know, all the rooms in the house were occupied by actors, and we were all sharing, and they were all close to each other. So, you know, typically when you're on set, you're in your trailer by yourself, and then you're on set. But you know, we were all with each other, and the kitchen was, you know, our craft service where we'd all go for breakfast and lunch and hang out. So it was a, you know, it really lent itself to this vibe of the film, of all of us, you know, being together and being into this cult. You know, we got close. There was a lot of fellowship among us, and I think that, you know, definitely lent itself to this project.
Now, Chazz, did Ivo let you all ad-lib a little bit, or you had to stick close to the script?
No, I mean, it was definitely a kind of a combination. You know, you know, certain things were kind of close to the script, but, you know, the scene that David and I have, where I kind of tell, you know, when I first come in and kind of tell my story of how I got there and everything.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was really a combination of, you know, of what Ivo had written, and then some, you know, ad-libbing and some, you know, kind of planned improvisation that we had talked about of where to take it a little bit further. So it was a combination, I think, for people. I mean, there was a script and everything, but you know, we were also at liberty to, you know, to try different things.
So, Ivo, you're that type of director where you will see what the actors might have on their minds before they get to the script, or after they do the part in the script, and they might raise their hands and say, hey, Ivo, wait a minute, you think this might work? Are you that type of director, Ivo?
Yes, absolutely. I to me, it is kind of unthinkable to bring all of these amazingly talented people and then just tell them, hey, you got to do this and this and this. Yeah,
right.
That's crazy. To me, the best parts and the most genuine and authentic moments happen in the moment, and so you have to be ready to accept them. And so, you know, and nothing. Look, if you're in a scene and it veers off, nothing happens. You let it roll, and then you go back and shoot it again. You
Mhm.
know, I think constantly cutting and stopping kind of just stops the flow. And this is why, you know, we were shooting with two cameras at all times, because I wanted to capture these genuine moments. And I think, you know, to me, it was really important that everything that was scripted, that was really important for the story, was shot and done, because that was the structure and the story. But then not in every scene, obviously, but in a variety of scenes, it was just let's just riff and, you know, bring your own secret sauce to it and see what we get. And I think we got really amazing stuff. And also frees people, because everybody, you know, there's often tension on set, because like, oh my God, did I say this right? Here,
Right.
I really like to work in this very collaborative environment where people are free to explore and be creative, and we can always tone it down. We can always not use it if we shot something that's not necessarily appropriate for the story. But
Right.
you know, just chopping it down in the moment is counterproductive in my book.
Oh yeah, I think it really is. I've been on a few sets and been around sets and directors, and you're absolutely right. I've seen many directors do what you have done with this film, but also you do this also with your other films too, right?
Yeah, this is a style I have adopted. Kind of, I call this kind of immediate cinema. You know, so whatever I shoot, whether it's a music video or even a commercial, which that's more structured, but you just kind of are prepared to grab and then go and let the magic happen within a parameter and structured system. It's not a free for all, obviously, but if you're open to that, then I think you get some really incredible moments. And you keep hearing throughout history, you know, you talk to these classical filmmakers, oh, do you remember that amazing scene from, you know, The Godfather or whatever? That was a spontaneous moment. Well, yeah, because they were smart enough to take it. You know, and that's so why would you not build it in by design and have your whole production kind of foment this creativity? And I thrive on that. To me, that's amazing.
Wow. Now, Chazz, back to you. When you had your scenes or getting ready for your scenes with David Lipner and Keeley Price, they play Seymour and Danny.
Yeah.
Did you rehearse with them at first? Did you discuss it with them, what you want to do? Or did you all just rehearse and then discuss it? And then Ivo said, ready, let's go.
Well, the one scene with Dave and I, when, like I was saying, when I first came in, Dave and I talked about that and came up. I had some ideas, and you know, we talked about it, and a lot of, I mean, it went on, and obviously it didn't all end up in the film. And then the other stuff, most of the stuff that I was in was fairly, you know, straightforward. And then also we were always, there were, you know, such a ton of group scenes that we were all in, that you might not be necessarily the focus of that scene, but, you know, we were always doing exercises or, you know, silly things. I mean, just every day, that was, you know, pretty much. And then you'd have a scene in there that was kind of focused on your character, but the rest of the time you're, you know, kind of being supportive and, you know, doing different stuff, like, you know, kind of, you know, holding Jimmy in the pool and everybody telling him to love him, and you know, just you know, doing any myriad of silly things. So yeah, it was like, that was kind of the environment, and you know, so we all kind of got close. You know, sometimes it was spontaneous and we would just do stuff on the moment. Sometimes you talk a little bit about what you were going to do beforehand. There wasn't a lot of rehearsal, and everybody came really prepared. And one of the nice things about the way that Ivo shot it was, it was, you know, it was low budget, and having this kind of, you know, documentary style, he was getting a lot of coverage. So we weren't doing take after take after take. Kind of had to come ready to go. We'd shoot it, and, you know, and we were on to the next scene really quickly.
Yeah. Chazz, I used to ask many actors this question. Why do you want to be an actor? Why are you acting?
I you know, I think I do it because acting allows me to do things that I can't do you know, and play, it allows me to go places, feel emotions, and do things that I don't get to do in my regular life. And you know, for me, being a character actor is what it's all about. You know, I mean, I want to look different, be different in kind of everything that you see me in, and you know, and just get away from myself. That's what's, to me, the most fun.
Yeah, many character actors are very good actors, and then many of them have won Academy Awards too, just by playing that particular character in that film. And what makes you feel that you want to be a character actor?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm drawn to. Is, you know, those kind of. I mean, I enjoy doing comedies, and I did this now, and I did a part on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've done a lot of darker stuff, a lot of horror, and you know, did 2 seasons of American Horror Story. And I don't know, I just, you know, to me, it's really fun to be able to go to, you know, to find, you know, those kind of, you know, dark places within you that don't exist, or the light places that don't exist. Look at, like, you know, I always use this as an example. I'm kind of, as a person, I'm somewhat, you know, self-conscious. And I, you know, like, my girlfriend loves to go dancing. I don't, but I'm playing a character that has to dance. Well, then that for me allows me the opportunity to, you know, do whatever. Either this character is a great dancer and I have to, you know, go do that, or I can, you know, have a character who's just awful and have the opportunity just to be awful and silly and just look like a fool. I love that. So acting allows me to do things that in life I don't feel, you know, comfortable doing necessarily.
Yeah, keep it up. And like I said, like Walter Brennan, he won 3 Academy Awards being a character actor. Man, even though I went back way back there.
Yeah.
But he's one of the great character actors that I always admired. Now, Ivo, this is a parody, or is it a comedy? What is it? This film, Reboot Camp?
Well, I think it's you know, both. I think it's a satire that you know, spoofs society a little bit, and our willingness to suspend disbelief and follow the leader. I think it's a comedy for sure. It's because it's got a lot of comedic elements. You know, it's a mockumentary or a fake documentary or a fictional documentary. So it's all those things.
Oh man, yeah, that's what I saw in this film. I said, wait a minute. Now let me talk about the main character first, David Lippert, as Seymour. Now the reason he went into this was because of his wife. Can you tell us a little bit about that character and what happened to him, about him and his wife?
Yeah, well, so Seymour is a guy who gets sucked into a different kind of, I don't want to call it cult, but it's the job, which happens to a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
And so he disappears from his world, and his wife is basically left to her own devices, and she starts entertaining herself by joining all of these programs, some of which turn out to be cons, and she blows through the entire you know, household savings they have, and does all of these retreats, and it's this mistress syndrome. Like, if I only do one more, I will finally figure out my life, right? And what I'm doing wrong and what I need to do next. And then you take that one and it gives you like the morsel. And then it's, oh, no, wait. Here's the new one coming. I got to see this one. And so there's this groupie effect, right? And you're just going and following.
Yeah.
And so this is, of course, to the extreme. And
maybe not.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
true.
not for some.
True. And so Seymour suffers from this. Like, he goes off into his crazy job world, and the consequence of that is he basically loses his wife to one of these fake gurus. And so as a personal, you know, process of dealing with this and having a brother who's a filmmaker, they decide to make a film about this process of manipulation to help other people avoid it. You know, they have good intentions, but of course, bad things, but for good intentions are still bad. And then it bites them in the proverbial butt, and it becomes a success. And now he embodies it. So now he starts believing his own BS. And then he gets seduced by the person who comes in, Claire.
And that's why I'm laughing. That was funny for this film that, oh, I'm mad at my wife and I'm going to suck people in and show them how stupid this is. But I am the one you should listen to. I am the greatest. as Seymour finally did in the film. Now, finally,
and then ironically, he suffers from the exact same thing with Claire. So even as he's doing it, he still gets sucked into somebody else's story. Yep. And that's the irony, which is what makes the story fun, because it's like, hey, you know what? You're not God, buddy. And
final question for you, Ivo, is what do you want the audience to think about this film or to get out of this film and how to feel about this film?
Just like you, I think you had the perfect reaction to it. I be entertained and laugh, because it's, to me, it's a funny story, and there's a lot of really fun lines and moments and crazy situations. Just enjoy it as a film. And then if it makes you think a little bit about, critical thinking and sources of information and somebody's motivation for trying to feed you something that might not sound really 100% there, that's a good thing. It's like, opens the eyes a little bit. Then that's just a pure bonus,
Well, thank you. And Chazz, my final question for you is this: what's next?
I've got some projects lined up, and I think actually one of them is about to start. I'm not sure. Everything kind of got, delayed by COVID. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now things are starting to open up a little bit, and I know that that Ivo and David are also working on this, turning this project into a series, which would be amazing. So
well, I hope we get to see more Herbert in the series.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. He's like
I know.
the Kool-Aid man,
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you too for taking time with me. I only get yeticket.com, and much success to the film. And also, when does it open up? It should be on
May 4th.
platforms now, right?
No, it starts on May 4th.
May
It'll
4th.
be available. Yes.
May 4th on all TVOD platforms. If you go to rebootcampfilm.com, we will have all the links there, or follow us on Instagram, Reboot Camp Film. Then all the info's there.
I'll put the information in there.
Awesome.
Again, thank you very much for taking time with me. Al Migui at yeticket.com. Much success to you, Ivo, and much success to you, Chazz. Hey, let's keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us. This was really fun.
Thanks for having us.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest.